man.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool.
I literally just came with those off the top of my head. I'm not gonna lie, I got mute castle and started struggling.
I could hear it.
Can you tell by what I went to go say the last bit? I went.
Yeah, you paused. I could tell. But first site, Carter, is going to be kitchen, and already we have a very interesting pick. We have Newers on the Oryx. Now, if you're going to be running an Oryx, Coastline is one of the maps to do it on. The defender's rotatability has been slightly increased thanks to the map buff. Of course, Skylight no longer being, or up in Courtyard no longer being a pivotal hold for the attackers, where they can just sit someone up there for literally the entire round and cut off everything on the top floor. You can't do that anymore. So your rotatability, a little bit more freed up. And of course, with that Oryx, you can do things like Kool-Aid Man through walls, jump up hatches, as well as have a really, really good primary weapon and all that jazz. And Newers, of course, we saw in Gunner's interview, right? He believes that with a little more time and a little more practice and training, he believes Newers could become Pro League ready. And I've seen this kid be pretty damn nasty, so I'm expecting big things in round 1 from him if he's picking Oryx. He's also got Barb in his pocket. Not good.
Pro League ready. Or almost.
Wow, Tones just got smoked. A good night, and his name is for him.
Well, we know Tones ate PL already after that one. No, I'm just kidding.
Smoked.
Yeah, Tones unfortunately smoked off the face of the earth after that one, losing the Wamai as well. Not as important, but always losing the opportunity cost of peeking versus getting those magnets. Something you're going to have to deal with. But yes, you actually saw an Oryx jump up a hatch.
And not die immediately.
And not get smoked immediately. Actually, funny enough though, right as he jumps up, everyone on the defense runs through in office inside of security. So the very area he vacated, now where the attack is, he can sit inside of Aqua waiting, but they know his exact position. So he drops, he's a dead man.
He's got yellow ping. Xeno will probably sit there until he gets the call to move, but Doc does find Mikey, so it's a late trade on Tones. You lose Wamai, who's a pretty big utility pick, but so's the Iana. So I would consider that a pretty even trade, but Newers now hears the air jabs going out from the Nomad. She's visioned over by Vase. They still have the pings on him. There is hard intel on this Oryx, and wow, Sonar is just going to try and spam through the wall. He'll light Newers down to half HP, and the Oryx will start to dash away. Now, I don't think there's anyone in the security watching the hatch directly, so Xeno can't quite get a line of sight on the Oryx, I don't think. Or at least, no. It doesn't look like Newers is going to be dropping the hatch at all. Sweater and Doc are also still far and away from the site. Gunner is alone on kitchen. Wow, okay, I literally just realized that the person on smoke is Gunner. That's a little bit odd. But if Sweater dies in Sunrise, it is even more control for this attack. Remember I talked about controlling the aggression? It seems as Karn and Co. have done it by waiting outside and having info. Plenty of it, in fact. They now lead by 1 man. Going into the last 50 seconds, they're looking pretty good to take round 1.
We got plenty of rotations in between the side as well. Xeno will wisely give the diffuser to Karn, because I'd rather have Xeno with his gun up than with the bomb on the floor. That's just me personally speaking. You might have different tastes. Plus, yeah, F2 as well. Might as well have him on the coverage instead. One player I'm looking at here, of course, Gunner on the smoke can always provide some intel. But I am right now looking at Newers inside the main lobby. Wow, Sonar just cannot believe he killed Doc there. Thankfully, Gunner gets a 2-piece, right? As 2 players push into the kitchen doorway. Maybe a little bit lackluster control there, but Xeno in Courtyard can shut him down. But now Newers, that player I told you to watch out for, inside of main lobby, he went unread. Now Sonar is the only one left. Newers in that very position, rotating into Courtyard. After a 2-piece, wins round number 1 for Mystic.
And that was really down to Gunner's position and never clearing Newers. Despite having precise info on him, sure, they were able to force the Oryx back, but in all honesty, I really think Newers should have been a freebie. They had so much info on the top floor. They knew Newers was alone. There was nowhere for him to go. Now, I don't know if Karn and Co. just decided, hey, it's an Oryx upstairs. I mean, we don't really need to do anything about him because we're not pushing from that side and we have air jab set up. Or Karn and Co. were scared. Now, I don't want to go outright and say, a Challenger League team was scared of clearing a single guy, so I'm going to default to the former option. But either way, it ended up costing them. That and the positioning from the last 4 attackers. You had 3 attempting to push over from the Sunrise side, and sure, Sonar was able to get his freebie, right? Over by where, I guess the service window, we call that now? That used to be jail. I guess we'll call it the server window now. He got his freebie on the server window. Doc got demolished. But in getting his freebie, and because there were 3 attackers pushing kitchen, there was no one on the kitchen window, a pretty default spot most people sit. So Gunner's allowed to sit in the corner, best shotgun in the game out, and cut down anyone trying to push through that doorway, through that bottleneck. It was easy for the smoke, as easy as it comes. And sure, Zeno got the refrag, but there's Newers, again, never cleared, sitting in courtyard with those feet holes opened up earlier in the round that Karn could do nothing about. So while Karn did, I think, a great job of controlling the early round aggression, again, it's that sight hold from Mystic and the late round pushback that caught the attack off guard.
Now it appears that Gunner's been unshackled off of smoke, that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to control that offside presence because there's a bit more loose last time, but now it might be a little bit more concentrated. But then again, as I say it, there's also Mystic we're talking about. They weren't associated with, the structured defenses. They were associated with some ratty plays. And we were still sticking with that Oryx, wanting to move fast and shoot well. Gunner likely the same too if he wants to rotate over to Penthouse and Theater, maybe play inside of 90. Mystic have plenty of options to sort of dictate the pace, but Whitlock's landing shots like that can perfectly read into Newers, just sticking his face in the small little slit between the bar and the wall behind it. Pretty easy opening duel to win.
I just realized. This is, Gunner, Whitlock, and Zeno used to team together on Mystic.
They did.
And they actually won a season of SCS. So this is Gunner up against Zeno and Whitlock. We kind of have a little grudge match going on between the 3. And speaking of Gunner, the man himself, he will kill Whitlock for the late refrag. So you lose Oryx, but for a sledge? That's a win in my book for the defense. So well done to Gunner getting that kill through a very slim angle through the floor. Of course, there are ADSs, so the attack... Well, I was going to say the attack has to worry about that before they go on utility clearing, but I guess the Banshee was free. A nade goes out. It does not do any damage, but Doc is still downed in the process nonetheless. Both he and Sweater are on the floor. Tones and Gunner now effectively in a 2v3. Make it a 1v3, but Gunner is at least able to recover the alibi on Cool Vibe. So back to a 2v3, though. Now that he's taken some shots, both he and Sweater are extremely lit up.
Still could win this based on the positioning, but Gunner unfortunately misses shots in one of the players' entries, and Sonar both at the doorway and one on the big window repel. This is difficult to navigate through all this coverage. Sweater thankfully successfully lands the trade, but it gives enough time for Karn to get the diffuser down, the attackers to rotate out, and Doc to slowly bleed out inside the site, leaving Sweater all alone to make this happen. He'll try to rotate to luggage, likely a good decision. Isolate a 1v1, but even then, the players have already rotated out, one even moving behind the Aqua Bar, making it a bit of a difficult gunfight for the alibi to win, combined with Mikey creating a crossfire inside of Aquarium. Karn a very expertly and coordinated, well done second round.
Yeah, that it looked like Mystic got a little bit too big for their britches. Newers overpeaked and died. Doc peeked to the big window repel player. I don't know how Sweater got down. Sweater got down, whatever. And from there, after those initial picks, or I guess downs, you could call it, from Karn & Co., they had so much space to work with. And they established so many crossfires. I mean, you saw when Gunner was trying to retake, both Gunner and Sweater were trying to retake, there was really nowhere by the hookah side of things that they could go safely. Gunner was watching the doorway. He had to watch out for big window. He had to watch out for perhaps even an angle from hookah window. There was so much for the defenders to worry about. The attackers took control of because of the space they were afforded by the defenders' over-aggression. So well done to Karn & Co. this time, able to, again, stem the early round aggression, but take enough of an advantage that the late round pushback didn't really matter or was too weak to matter.
On Blue Bar and Sunrise specifically, that early round aggression could be the name of the game here. Of course, just holding all directly onto the site is not something that any team would likely be advisable in doing. You're going to need some players hanging out upstairs to deny that vertical, whether it be pressure, just overall, just trying to stop them from moving into the map, or directly holding and trying to contest hookah, billiards, aquarium, what have you. You're going to need to have some sort of presence on that top floor, so Mystic can't be getting ahead of themselves, giving themselves to early gunfights like Newers did, because the moment that top floor falls, and if a couple bodies fall with it, Karn & Co. already have pretty much everything they need to make a Sunrise or a Blue Bar plan happen, no matter what. Right now, there's one player, Sweater, alone inside of main lobby, but he can quickly rotate back, and in a perfectly fine position to rotate back successfully, of course, unless he's cut off by that player outside the kitchen window. Have not seen it yet, so he can continue sitting inside pretty much with impunity. And with that Flores as well, moving over to Mudroom, Karn can clear out any shields around that area. Anybody playing close, like Gunner, maybe playing close in that Mudroom door, can push him back further as well. It's very spread out from Mystic right now. Still concentrated over towards Blue Bar and Sunrise, but a lot of bodies spread in different parts of the map.
Dude, Gunner on smoke is still so, like, surreal to me.
It's Gunner. He usually just plays whatever he wants.
I remember when he was playing Mav. I was like, wow, Gunner's on Maverick? And someone said to me in chat, he was like, I mean, yeah, who the hell else on this team is going to play it? And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Though I do know Tones is a decent smoke. So, I don't know. Maybe Gunners, they'd rather have the diss than the smoke. I don't know. Either way, we are nearly a minute down, and Karn & Co. have been relatively uncontested thus far. This is a completely horizontal extension from the defense, and getting pings through the floor. Zeno nearly finding some shots onto the player below him. I believe that was Doc on the Malusi, but ends up not connecting with anything, so it's kind of whatever. But we do now know that Karn & Co. have some decent info on the bottom floor. But do they know about Gunner? Yet again, ratting in a position, hoping to play the surprise game. Hiding out in Mudroom. Player will now go to his left. He has been droned out. Unfortunately for him, unfortunately for the Flores of Karn, he had his pistol out. So unable to capitalize, Gunner gets away scot-free. And, I mean, it's still a 5v5, but there's 50 seconds left. Gunner will get lit up as he gets a little bit too over-aggressive and gets caught by a nade. So just as I mentioned the man count, it will dwindle by 1. Mikey gets the opening pick, but still, Karn & Co. are going to be pressed for time pretty soon, though it is a relief that they don't have to deal with those gas anymore.
Gunner basically in a box at that point, barely any room for him to move. But here's the issue. Sure, you don't have that player playing close, but you have all these angles on long who can maybe take down the coverage. The first one falls, but Zeno on Cool Vibe stairs while he falls soon after, making it evened up 3v3. This is where Karn & Co. thrive in the post plane, even with the man disadvantage. Whitlock upstairs and Sonar across the map can contest some angles that Mystic might not be expecting, but Whitlock unfortunately misses a hell of a lot of shots, and there's too many bodies to deal with. Could have evened it up right there, but because of those whiff shots, it's all up to Sonar. Again, unread inside of main lobby. He's able to find one, but he has to back off. Not enough ammo to deal with these remaining 2 players, and he can't get aggressive until he starts getting baited out. Now he's got to rotate through, but with one player holding up above, there's nothing he can do as he can't react in time. Mystic, after evening it up 1-1, take the lead once again.
Man. Again, the late round pushback. Karn & Co. got the opening frag on the Gunner. There were no smokes to worry about. They even got a kill on the coverage thanks to Zeno. But the trade game was played by Mystic. Again, that pushback. You had Newers land a beautiful shot all the way from Blue Bar into mud. That is a massive pick because that means without the Mudroom coverage, your planter is stuck there. Once the defenders kill your Cool Vibes player as well, Zeno, once he's dead, I mean, where's Carnage going to go? He's dead to rights. He's stuck behind the bomb chassis. You saw he tried to peek out and make his way out the mudroom door and got slapped. So down he went. So you're left with Sonar, who is left unchecked, kind of creeping up the kitchen hallway, and Whitlock, who's up above. Whitlock had the perfect position for that post plant, and then decided to whiff his entire mag. So, a little bit unfortunate. If Whitlock had gone 1 for 1, maybe that would have worked out. But either way, Whitlock dying and Sonar being the last man downstairs was pretty much just... I mean, that round was over. You forfeit the top floor control of the defense. The only way Sonar can go through in time is through the double door, which is watched from the angles from above, created by the Sledge himself. Well done to Mystic. Well played. 2-1 now. I mean, there's still time for Karn & Co. to come back. I mean, we could even see an even coastline. We've had them before, but another, I guess I would say, out-of-meta pick is Tones has swapped off of Omai now onto Legion. So we've got both T5s in play.
But again, that's the nice thing about Coastline, which is why you and I were so disappointed by the bans, is you can have some of these quote-unquote off-meta picks, because Coastline, as long as you can shoot well, you can afford a hit in the utility department or so, even if it's like an operator like Wamai, who might bring some very useful utility. If you can frag better and it's still some useful utility you can work around, it's not just completely useless, it can certainly work out. Newers might not be having, the best time on the Orc so far. Not terrible by any means. Certainly not as good as Tones, I believe, who got that. No, I believe that was Whitlock or Sweater, sorry, who got that opening pick. Excuse me. I'm so focused on Newers contesting and contemplating whether or not he should take a fight with Mikey, And instead, he'll think otherwise. He'll rotate back off, move back through security. Meanwhile, Tone's the only one upstairs.
What? Mikey! No! Oh, no.
I actually don't think... I'm not joking. I think that's the first time I've actually seen a Rotero drone kill someone.
Oh, okay.
Well, it really just collapsed after that one, didn't it?
I don't want to talk about this round.
Wow, there were 3 people shooting at him.
Yeah, it really just all spun out of control after that, didn't it?
That was a kitchen defense.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it was a kitchen defense, but
I actually have seen a Rotero drone kill someone in comp play before. Fun fact. It was one of those situations where like they couldn't move anyway, so they just kind of accepted their fate. But Mikey tried to do the thing. Kind of like what you see with sometimes like a thermite breach rush, right? Like you see the thing go down and you're trying to time your sprint through the wall with the explosion. And, well, Mikey thought it was faster than it was. He also forgot that the backblast from a Rotero drone is a much, much bigger radius than a thermite charge. You cannot get close to that. I mean, trying to rush through that breach is not going to be nearly as quick as a breaching charge or an exothermic charge. And then it looked like the play from Karn, right? Was they really wanted to clear Sunrise. So they have someone, positioned over in blue bar. You have someone on the blue window. You have Mikey trying to rush through the wall and take those defenders off guard with the Rotero drone. You have someone simultaneously pinching over towards mud, and everything was going to collapse at once. And then Mikey died, and Karn and Co. seemed like they were just too dedicated on the push to stop. And it just, you saw what happened. It was really sad. I kind of imagine what happened. Like in Saving Private Ryan, or like those war movies where like cuts to slow motion and the piano music starts playing and everyone falls one by one. That would be a perfect moment for that.
And unfortunately, to continue with the Saving Private Ryan analogy, there was no like jet bombers coming in out of nowhere to save Tom Hanks. It's just Tom Hanks got blown up by a Rotero drone. And as we all know, Mikey is very much like Tom Hanks.
Yeah?
Alright, I'm not gonna lie, please. Okay, just making sure. When I see players standing still now, I'm terrified.
Yeah. Like a visceral fight or flight reaction.
Thankfully, everyone is here. Do not need to worry.
Everyone is here.
As Mystic, maybe you do need to worry a little bit, Harrison. Maybe actually a little more worry would be good for them. Because it seemed they didn't worry enough, and they kind of gave their life away in some instances. Call that a transition.
Certainly. We're back on Hookah, though, right? And this is where Karn and Co. have their one attack. See if they can get 2. There is a bit of a difference. Gunner is off of smoke, and he's now on Maestro. Well, okay. He was playing Jaeger for this site. Doc is now Jaeger instead of Malusi. Tones is now Malusi instead of Legion? Or Wamai. He was either Legion or Wamai. And now Gunner
Legion before.
Is on Maestro. I couldn't remember it was Legion for this site in particular.
Oh, for this site.
Either way.
Not on this site.
People have swapped up operators. And now Mystic have a little bit more info. They have less denial, but they have more info. Karn and Co. has certainly had a lot of that. Whether or not they've actually been able to act properly off of it, though, is a different story. And now that Mystic have info of their own, well, it's on the site and not on the roam. I'm sure that will still help tremendously, especially with the plethora of crossfires Karn and Co. were utilizing in the previous attempt on the site.
Well, first pick finally comes out. This time it's Karn taking down those Rotero drones to one extent or another, for one team or another. Used to great effect. Sometimes it depends who it ends up helping. But now there's deployable shields, some of which have already been taken down. But any bulletproof utility that remains alive, like those Evil Eyes, you'll have to use some of those nades left on the board to try to take down, or work a Twitch drone inside of the site to deal with those Evil Eyes. But until you do, Intel, watching places like Aqua, can continue relay intel to the rest of the defense, watching and seeing where they're pushing, which right now It appears that's where Karn and Co. might be going for. Mikey on the hook or the billiards window repel. 2 players on the aqua balcony right now. That Evil Eye could be of vital importance if they're not able to destroy it. First nade caught by an ADS. Gunner maybe not even playing off that intel, just taking a fight. Finds Whitlock sitting outside on the balcony, and suddenly 2 players immediately fall at the exact same time. Xeno, the only one left. Ego peaked by Newer is cut down. Flawless round for Mystic. Move up 4-1.
So, you'd probably expect me to say, wow, Mystic won this round because they dialed back their aggression and waited for Karn & Co. to come to them. No. Mystic played it exactly like their previous hookah defense. Really aggressively. But Carter, do you know what the one key difference between this round and round number 2 was? Sorry, round number 2 was.
Was it instead of Whitlock one-tapping Newers? Was it Mystic multi-tapping Karn?
The big difference was, in fact, that Mystic won their fights. And that's really all there is to it.
I mean, what I said was an example of what you said.
Oh, no, yeah, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
I was saying that is an example of something Mystic did that everyone on Mystic did and was successful at.
Very insecure. I need validation.
I know. It's okay. Mystic simply just swung Karn & Co. over and over again. First it was... Who was it? Doc? Yeah. Doc swung Karn and got the first pick. And then Gunner swung 2 other people. Even though he's Maestro, he decided he was going to peek Hookah Balk and then Big Window. And he won both his fights. And that's really all it comes down to. Sometimes winning your fights is all a siege round comes down to. And, well, with Mystic, it comes down to that probably more often than we're used to.
Well, Gunner not on smoke this time, Harrison. But he's on mute, so. But he's on mute with the MP5K. So a little bit more aggressive. Difference of a role. Newer's not on Oryx anymore. Sweater's still an alibi, because Sweater's just an alibi main at this point, I feel like. But at this moment, where Karnikov decided to enter is, in fact, the one area where Mystic don't exactly have too much presence. Doc is nearby, playing on Vase, so some holes open as well. He can certainly take some fights, whether on a long angle or a close one. There we go. Got the twist round. We all sometimes miss a shot. We'll take it down, but Doc is really the only person who can actively contest, and in all honesty, yeah, exactly. Nobody there to support. Rotating down after a minute, probably the best bet there. You don't want to play too aggressive with players outside of Hookah, moving in through Aqua, Office as well. It is problematic, though, because this is a Blue Bar Sunrise defense, and now Karn & Co. have that vertical control, and there's only 1 C4 for the defense.
That is true. I mean, at least they have gas nades, too, so they're not completely out of options if that C4 goes to waste. Whitlock is going to have to be very careful of it if that mute decides to rotate, but never mind. He's just going to have to be careful of Newers peeking the holes. Once again, Mystic decide, I'm not going to move. I will simply fight you. Whitlock loses it, and that means the attack loses their sledge. That is your main method of soft breach, as well as nades. And now that you lost your Flores, you lose a significant bit of explosive destructibility. Xeno will at least refrag the low HP Wamai, so Newer's finally taken off the board. But at this point, most of those Wamai discs, if not all, have already been set out onto the field, and you've still got a one-man advantage over the defense, okay? All right. Gunner's going to Chad push up Cool Vibes and completely look the wrong way. He was looking up the stairs while Xeno was already on the platform. So we're back to an even 3v3, which is not great for the defense. No. What is great for the defense is the fact that, well, there's not a lot of vertical destruction that's been done. So rotatability in and out of the site is going to be a little bit easier than if Whitlock was still alive.
One problem, though, much like Gunner in the previous round, Tones is, well, there you go, very isolated and out of utility. I actually thought he'd be more pinched out, but Sonar just takes his one and wins it. Now you've dislodged him, but he was basically a dead man. It's been an effective 2v3 for a while now, and Sweater and Doc don't seem to mind all that much. In fact, Mikey's not aware. He's not dead? How How is he not dead?
Huh?
He got a kill after that. I just assumed that it was going to be a 1v1, but no. Sweater's got to finish it off. He whiffs the gunfight again, puts the Yana even lower, and ends up losing the fight to Sonar. I just simply have no idea how Sweater didn't kill that guy. And because he thought he did too, Mystic lost the round.
What? I have never seen a team lose a round quite like that. That should have been a Mystic round.
I got it, dude. I gotta see this.
Through and through.
Dude.
I can't believe it. So, Mystic have a great early round, right? They kill the Sledge. They kill the Flores. And Gunner kind of throws his life away, and we're back to even. That's whatever. That's whatever. Tones also throws his life away. But hey, he was out of gas. He already burned a lot of time. Still not the worst thing in the world. It's not great, but it's not, it's not the definitive factor of why they lost. But then, Mystic kills Zeno. Zeno was the guy on Cool Vibes, tasked with making sure that those defenders can't rotate into and through the smoke. And also, well, that's his execute position. And once the post plant comes, he goes back upstairs and plays off the holes, right? Really important. And he gets slammed. The last two defenders double peek him. Sweater rotates through the smoke. Has the perfect opportunity to kill Mikey. Mikey had no goddamn clue, but he does the thing that all players have done. We've all been there. He fires a few shots into the body, and he's like, yeah, that guy's dead. But he wasn't dead.
Shots 13 through 7, missed due to poor spray control kind of situation.
And the thing is, too, if Sweater had just held left click, his teammate wouldn't have died. His teammate died after Sweater peeled off. So that was just a little unfortunate.
Yeah, well, Sweater's on the entry here, or second entry, technically, I suppose. Not a role you have to land your shots, of course.
Gunner
not that necessary.
Nomad.
Gunner's really on on very different ops than we
expected.
Zero,
man.
I'm of course joking, by the way. Obviously, Sweater will be perfectly fine after that. We all whiff occasionally. Here though, Newers is facing a little bit of an issue. He's sort of just face checking the shield right now, and there doesn't seem to be much of an actual avenue to destroy it, because there is hard breaching for Mystic, but no real way to destroy the Electric Claw that's currently holding down the VIP wall. So once it's destroyed, I believe that was from a nade from below, I do believe. Whitlock is pushed off, but he pushes up instead. Takes the head clean off of Doc, and there's one player Newers trying to capitalize, and he's immediately domed as well. Pinned to a post after that one. 3v5 easily for Whitlock. Barely even broke a sweat during that.
Here it is. Whitlock was 1-6 before that, but here is the Whitlock we know and love. Sweater does get a refrag onto Mikey, so the Jaeger is now dead, but Zeno follows it up, making sure that kill does not remain unanswered, keeping his team in the man advantage. But as Sonar goes down, it's only by one man. Mystic are still in an okay position, but there's still 3 gas grenades for Karn. There's still a C4 for Zeno. So this round, while doable for Mystic, is still going to be really tough. It's 2 ARXs against 3 right now with 1 minute remaining, and both of these last attackers pretty separated. The Nomad attempting to come in through VIP, wading his way into the drone hole, see if there's anyone there. C4 goes out, but it's really early from Zeno, so a little bit of a waste there for that plant and utility. That's going to allow Sweater to pick up the diffuser, and if Gunner can cover, he might be able to get that plant down for free, but instead, Sweater drops. He's still got nades. He's got pings. This guy should be dead to rights. I'm just watching and waiting. There it is! Well played by Sweater. No more gas, and because of the missed C4, no more plant denial. Gunner's also going to hit someone with an air jab. I'm not quite sure who it was. It may have just been actually caught in a OMI disc, but as Whitlock takes out his teammate, Gunner's alone, and, well, Zeno will put an end to the round. What looked really doable for Mystic, especially after that kill from Sweater, ends up not really amounting to much.
It was nice to try to bring things back, though, but round was already pretty much done and dusted, and at least 75% of the way, primarily because of Whitlock playing in this position. You can see right there, they destroyed that shield. They destroyed Whitlock's cover. But based on the way they tried to play that, there wasn't really anybody trying to take Whitlock from a separate angle. Not that they, had a plethora of options at their disposal. You're not able to get the wall open, so you are restricted in what angles and fights you can take. But both players just opted to push one by one through that doorway. He's able to take down the first, reposition slightly, takes down the second as well. The second one, admittedly, being a nicer shot than the first, so I doubt Newers really had much time to react after that one. But it was still a position where, based by the nature of it and how Mystic were taking it, Whitlock had a very easy time getting that 2K because Mystic just pushed one by one. At that point as well, Xeno gets a kill later on. Even though they did play the trade, Whitlock had already done the damage, and Karn did what they did best. Play structured, play off each other, don't give anything away.
What if they're feeling charitable?
10 seconds left
It's really a Karn playstyle, though, isn't it? More so, I'm not saying, they certainly lose things. They're not a team that really gives things away. Like, they might lose, but I don't know if they, throw by over-peaking, for example.
They kind of gave the round number 1 away.
I mean, well,
Wow.
I suppose.
Mystic are rocking 4 hard breach charges.
They're open in that wall now.
Yeah. You'd think, if Gunner's playing the Zero, which I was begging him to play because he was on Nomad, and Zero's cooler. And Gunner likes Zero. You figure if he's already bringing the hard breach charges, which I refuse to call can openers, you'd have Tone switch on to smokes just for some added clear, because you actually have no burn except for Zoe. You'd think he'd switch. But his sonar gets a little bit aggressive, lights up Gunner and makes him fear for his life. He's a little bit too distracted. And he'll fall to, I believe that was Sweater, the opening pick. So while Gunner and Newers are very lit up, you lose your pulse. And that's pretty big.
Also, as Xeno rotates in the main lobby, Mikey now a little bit isolated, but in fact it might be Whitlock who could be cause for concern. Yes, exactly. I was a bit worried about Mikey's position, but, well, now I'm worried about Karniko's overall position in this round, but thankfully, ironically enough, it's Mikey who gets the first kill on the board for his team, but he's all the way inside of office. Karn is alone on the site as the attack is quickly realizing there's blood in the water, there's prey all alone by themselves. We could probably take this down, get the bomb on the floor, maybe even get a kill. Karn miraculously comes away from that despite turning his back to Sweater, fully undamaged, but now he's the only one left. Toxic canister in his pocket, but not much he can do in this position, and not much he can do with 4 bodies all trained on his position. Mystic, after that previous round, which looked not the best, this time around, not only do they dominate the early game, they dominate the middle and the end game too.
Yeah, getting that plant down definitely sealed the deal, as if the round wasn't dominant enough already. It seemed like those 2 early damaged players, Gunner and Newers, ended up surviving the whole round and getting kills. So they did not care. They do not care. Karn & Co. on their roam, getting a little bit aggressive, getting a little bit crazy with it. Sonar trying to get the player off the window, gets caught by a mudroom player. Sweater swings around, makes sure that the Pulse doesn't get away with that damage for free. Then Gunner, rappelling up the big window despite the low HP, gets the next kill onto Whitlock. And it seemed like the dominoes were just falling. And well, no one from Karn & Co. could pick it up except for Mikey, who got 1 kill. That was about all they could muster. Mystic kind of pushed all from one direction in full force. And I mean, when you're staring down all 5 barrels of Mystic as like one guy with maybe one other buddy, you're probably not going to come away with that with much, or come away from that with much. So Mystic now lead 5-3. Now remember, this is their map choice, so we kind of expect them to win it. That's conventional Siege logic. Karn & Co. still have time to turn it around, but even that hookah defense wasn't really all that convincing.
No, what was really convincing by Karn & Co. was Whitlock in the early round fully stopping Mystic from gaining a foothold and gaining momentum, and that has seemed to be the name of the game for the few times where Mystic has faltered and lost rounds in SES so far, is when they can't start the round the way they want, they can't set the pace and put their plan into motion. By just letting that happen, letting them gain their control, Mystic can usually make that entry happen, whether it's taking a 1v1 or pinching you out, unless it's pushing through a doorway in which they literally line up for you. if they're even in a 50-50 or even slightly in the advantage, it's almost effectively winning the fight at that point for Mystic, it seems, on these entries. Karn might need to present a little bit more obstacles for Mystic in order to make this work, but depends. How coordinated are they on their clears? It's what we have to see. There are more roamers this go around. Whitlock getting far more aggressive than he did previously, but as he rotates down the white stairs, Doc is sitting outside of the main lobby door, waiting to see if anybody makes this exact play, either from the main stairs or the bathroom. Slowly creeping up to, anticipating maybe a fight to be taking or somebody in that position, but instead Whitlock will just rotate back up the main stairs, not keen to give his life away just yet, saving his impact for another day, but unfortunately here, he walks right into the crosshairs of Gunner and gives Mystic the opening they so desire.
I was literally just about to talk. I was literally just about to talk about Gunner, or sorry, not Gunner, but there really not being any engagements between the two teams, despite it being like a minute 15 in, and then we watched Whitlock rotate up and then die. Zeno's still upstairs though. He hasn't been cleared out. He'll open a punch hole and likely find a freebie. But what? What?
All right.
Doc wins that? I don't know how in the hell Doc just won that. But he did. Zeno just got freaking slammed. Tone's playing the vert, gets a kill of his own, but Carnage finally frags back on Newers. Doc is also very low HP, so he's susceptible to either of these two players' guns. One bullet will put them down, but Carnage B is armed with just the UMP. And Sonar isn't on the site to help him. I actually have no idea where Sonar is. It looks like he's all the way over towards office. Karn is going to try for a surprise play in Mudroom, but he's caught by Gunner. It does not matter. And Sonar is in a 1 versus 4. Players bearing down on him from multiple directions. As the attack starts to try and take in through Mudroom, it's not going to matter. Both Sweater and, I believe that was, actually, I have no idea who that was. Sweater and Tones, I think, on Cool Vibes, have the cutoff. And now it's 6-3, map point Mystic.
Looking pretty solid on their map pick. 6-3 so far. It has been close for Karn & Co. in a couple rounds, but I feel like those round wins in and of themselves were almost the way they were won have been indicative of Karn & Co. in this match. Spurts stopping, but then starting for more prolonged periods of time. Never really able to net something together for too long before Mystic quickly take the lead back and turn things around against them. Going forward here, they now have to break with that pattern and win 3 rounds in a row, something that has so far been difficult for Karn & Co. in this match in particular. Kitchen Service will be the site next on the board for Karn & Co. See, Karn 6 picked the smoke from the Warden, and if what they're trying to go for here is something a bit more concentrated towards the site, something that maybe they can control the playstyle, as you said. We saw that a roam didn't necessarily work out as well as Karn & Co. hoped last time. Mystic were able to set things up, pinch out Whitlock, stop him before he had any impact. 2 players, as they're taking fights off the site, end up winning theirs as well. Karn & Co. might be correcting, moving something to that won't put them out of place or out of position so early on. But it's always a tough gamble with Mystic, because if you try to take those fights, their players are so good you might lose them, but if you don't take those fights, the fights they're going to take later will just be more and more in their favor.
Now we're back on Kitchen. Hookah's not unlocked, so Karn & Co. have to go back to a site that they lost, and one that they lost handedly. It was only 1 kill for the defense. I believe it was Mikey that grabbed it, and no one else from Mystic fell. Again, we have 4 hard breach charges. That's a little weird, considering the only person with burn, I guess, is Doc with smokes. I mean, you can burn with Gunner's utility, but it's not ideal. I don't see why you wouldn't just bring flashes with Buck.
Still a 5v5. We're almost to that point, Harrison, that you talked about. Not a kill had happened, and we were suddenly shocked that somehow Mystic went 1 minute and 10 seconds without killing someone. But I imagine momentarily we'll be in a position where something happens. Likely some aggression. Tones being the one right now to slowly push down Cool Vibe stairs. On Buck, not an operator, we see him all too often. But they're still playing this not all that crazily just yet. Mikey now facing some semblance of pressure. Hatch opened up above him. But he was one of the last alive previously. It was everyone inside of the site that died and ended up losing all of their positioning and their momentum. And right now, longest time we've gone without an opening duel happening. Minute 30 seconds have passed, not a single bit of damage done to any player on the board. Look at what they have. They have the player inside of office in a position to be pinched. They have Xeno in a position to be knocked down. Sure, Mikey's rotated nearby, but there's still players outside main lobby, up above as well, who can find a position to nail him down, pinch him out, and get the opening pick. Still struggling, still waiting for some action to occur. Mystic, as they're lining up, might be in a position to fight back, but the longer the time goes on, Karn and Co have some time to fight back as well.
I love this from Karn and Co. Like you said, they're applying the pressure, making sure that Mystic can't walk in and take fights for free. And Mikey, he'll find another one. Both Newers and Gunner dead for the price of Sonar the Oryx. And here's Xeno with another killing Doc. But Sweater's in the sight. He just jumped through the window, I guess, amongst all the commotion. It sounds like Karn has no idea. He'll get his head ripped off, and though Tones is very lit up, this sight control from Sweater could potentially be impactful, but look at the case. It's dropped all the way by White Stairs, but Sweater gets a wallbang kill onto Mikey. This is absolutely massive from the Iana. It's now a 2 versus 2. The nade perfectly placed will force Xeno out, and he's very separated from Whitlock. There's more spamming coming through the wall from Sweater, looking to find any damage possible, but Xeno finally puts an end to his reign of terror. A 3rd kill now, and Whitlock finishes it from Sunrise. Karn and Co. do not let it...
They got some of that early round aggression. Mystic were stalled out in their take, but still a 5v5. Come a minute and 15 seconds left. Something that we've hyped Mystic up so far has been their ability to get those entries early on. It's something we faulted Karn and Co for, was sometimes not being aggressive enough in the early round, that even when they were, Mystic could easily dispatch with them. This time around, minute 15 seconds left, all the focus is on main lobby. The attack desperately trying to find ground, and the defense desperately trying to not give any away as the attackers lined up outside main door and barreling down White Stairs. But for once, Mystic actually didn't have as good a positioning. They had a lot of very good angles, but Xeno had already rotated back behind main lobby. With Mikey playing close, they're able to successfully play the trades in that area, that even though it ends up moving down to even, because of their early round play, they've been able to waste time, and for once not get caught up on Mystic's clear. Once they play coordinated, even when they lose the fights and it goes to even, they've done enough in the early round that Mystic can't find the opportunity they want to at the time that they did, and they have to go into and execute, maybe even a bit too quickly, but still not with a full plan that they want. Karn are able to take that round. I don't know how much they can replicate that, but Harrison, we might have just found our winning strategy if they can.
Again, you know, this is the point we brought up in the critical points. They're going to have to keep that up. And this firepower from Karn and Co. can sometimes be inconsistent. Can they do it 2 rounds in a row? We're back on Hookah. Now, they did win this defense. It was the first round of the brand new half, and they took this round in relative stride. We got another swap up from Mystic. We have Newers on the Finca. What Karn and Co. were doing in the previous round, right? They were poking and prodding at the attack, just applying pressure every couple seconds, keeping them at bay and making sure Mystic can't walk in. What does Finca do? Finca doesn't necessarily allow you to walk in, but it gives you that HP boost, and it gives you the confidence. That's the important thing. That's what I love talking about with Finca, that I feel like is a very underrated portion of her gadget. It's not really how it affects, you know, your character in game. It's the psychological, right? It gives you confidence. When you're Finca boosted, you feel like you can take any fight in the world. So if that's what stumped Mystic, the Finca and that confidence boost with the nano boost might be the solution.
It might be. So to counter that point, Sweater's 16-6, and he doesn't need the adrenaline boost.
He's not.
He's doing the most without it.
Indeed.
Perhaps. There's one player currently sitting outside, well, actually inside of Sunrise, excuse me. Wasn't quite sure about the which way Xeno was looking, but there might be one player inside of Sunrise at the moment. There's another player, Tones, on the buck this go-round, creating Swiss cheese out of the holes in the floors, layering both hookah and billiards. Almost used all of his skeleton key in the first half of the round, creating these angles to work from down below to put pressure, not necessarily on players like Xeno in this particular position, but still make it a lot more difficult to rotate inside of the site and give a variety of angles to play if they end up getting that bomb down. The player on Big Window as well, and pressure from Cool Vibes incoming. If this C4 doesn't land, which it will not, Mystic have a lot of ground in their hands. Sonar does get the first pick on the Sweater. That's 16-6 player, now 16-7. Sure, he's taken off the board, but Mystic have been able to take that one loss and turn it into 2 gains in their favor. Whitlock manages to push down, but no! He misses the fight! A massive misplay by the Wamai. A whiffed gunfight. Karn, the only one left. He gets the big window player as he chokes the life from his teammate. But what does he have for it? He's trapped with 3 players all directly in front of him. He's got to send out a toxic canister that I think does a little bit of damage to Tones, but it won't stop Doc getting the bomb on the floor, and it won't stop the attackers from all retreating and playing this post plant patiently and off of the man advantage. He has an angle on to Cool Vibes, but the player is not giving it away whatsoever. He knows it's match point, and the moment he takes the fight, it's the moment Karn is not looking. 7-4 for Mystic on their map pick. Not a bad showing by Karn & Co. To be honest, a win we expected from Mystic, but still a good fight nonetheless. Mikey, there are 2 C4s that can happen. Of course, that does require both of them surviving to the late round, which could very well not occur.
We got a Maestro now, though.
That is true. That's what I was going to say. Depending on what happens, they do have a Maestro, so there is the potential for more info depending on where they place it, but in all likelihood, there are quite a few positions you might want to watch. You know, say you want to have some info watching construction. Of course, you wouldn't place one in construction, but watching inside the site, maybe having somebody on red stairs. But I do imagine, in all likelihood, you likely may see one Evil Eye placed inside a garage just to help. No matter where they are, there's still at least the potential for more info, even to influence Platwall. If Sonar gets a call that, hey, they're actually not watching your plat right now. They're on plat, but, you know, they're not looking at you. Maybe he fuels a bit more freedom and has discretion in a moment to adjust a little bit more. Just the fact that there's something that could ease him up a little bit will do wonders, especially if Mystic put as much focus on Rafters as they did in round number 2 when they first attacked CCTV.
Yeah, I also just realized I said that they were bringing Maestro like that was a new development, but I remember they had Maestro last time.
Still could put an Evil Eye there if they wanted to, but...
That's true. Jaeger has Barb. So I don't think they really have any added info in Garage. I didn't see him place an Evil Eye in there. Mikey is bottom Garage, though. As Doc goes ahead and starts the the Electro Claw. Starts maving the wall. Xeno is going to pick up his Electro Claw. Throw it somewhere else. Where did he just chuck it?
Pick Con
Where
Wall.
did he put? Oh, Con Wall. But like, I guess that they figure the Sonar Mikey combo in Garage is going to be enough to force them to rotate to Con.
I will say, Mikey was playing here last time, though, so that is also not a new development. He was playing Pit earlier. I was just thinking something in addition to Mikey and Sonar playing in these positions might be necessary. But again, if they're anticipating a rotate, that might be the case, but so far, Mystic, it's only a minute in, they could very well rotate over to Con. It doesn't appear that they're taking that route whatsoever. They are still putting a focus on Garage, taking a little bit slower than last time. They're not able to put a hard breach charge on the wall. They choose not to, but the Pit player goes down. Tones removes him by entering into Lounge. He catches Mikey off guard inside a Pit, and now Sonar's one helping hand is gone. He'll feel that he's obligated to rotate over, but even then, he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Either rotate in front of plat wall, give yourself up to the player there, or stand up and rotate no matter what. You put yourself at risk of getting taken down by Newers. It's a difficult position and difficult balancing act that Sonar has to make work, and honestly, he might just have to play his life in this position and waste as much time as he can.
Oh, but he pops up and destroys Newers. Down goes the Ash, looking for a second out the breach, but Gunner's going to tag him. Here's a nade, and it's got his name on it. Sweater cuts him down. I also like to Sweater earlier in the round. He remembered Whitlock coming over towards Bar and denied the position from him. The Whitlock has now tried to go over towards Oil Pit, stop the players from crossing up the stairway, but he ends up dying. Xeno is soon to follow. It's now Karn in a 1 versus 3 as he finds Tones. Oh, beautiful shot onto Doc. He knows the plant is going down, but he can't find the angle. Now 1 versus 2 post plant on Cash. Gunner has already sprinted out the breach. And Sweater is over towards bottom Garage. He's hucking nades over towards the position. Carnage B is going to impact open the wall. He sees the rappel line as well. He's going to try and bait the peek from Gunner, but no, he mistimes it and misses the shots. Gunner finds the pick. Mystic with round 5. They go up 4-1.
Again, following a similar pattern as to what we saw on Coastline. A little bit different, but still, Karn and Co have a very solid showing in the opening round. But since then, and I feel like progressively more so, it's been more and more and more just looking like Mystic are the better team so far in this match. especially that round. See Mikey and Pitt playing down, excuse me, playing downstairs. He's Sonar's only real support in that area. But Harrison, did he have a shield even dedicated down there?
You was
He's-
playing dry
Exactly. He's just playing
and
by
raw.
by himself in that position, and again, there's nobody really there who can help Mikey out either. Nobody playing bottom red. It was a solo entry from Tones. Yeah, Sony, maybe rotate down, help out your position. They could even play your trade because Tones was immediately focused on nading the floor soon after. It's positions like here where Mystic have very adequately and very well been able to find those openings in Karn and Co.'s defense where they're weak. And then usually once they exploit them, the other weaknesses open up. And, well, in that case, a weakness lined up with the strategy they were going for anyway. It's not seeming very probable that Mystic are going to go up 5-1 after this. Of course, or Mystic won Gym previously. They opened up Jacuzzi Wall and Plat Wall almost immediately, it felt like, in the round. And then they just put pressure around the entire site, and Karn and Co. eventually burst. They couldn't fight back that much. This site as well lends itself particularly well to Mystic strengths, and it's difficult to see how Karn and Co., especially without many adaptations on the surface, will fare with that.
Jim, well, their last defense wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't bad. Just Mystic
Did,
just slowly
well,
squeezed the life out of him.
yeah, it was also down to Doc's position, coming through Cash into Khan relatively unchecked. You got 2 kills. So, instead of a locking off construction, or well, reinforcing the wall and playing kind of a loose Khan position, Karn & Co. will dedicate utility to Cash. They'll already rotate a player out. Fortunately for Tones, he doesn't cut down that player despite having the cutoff on the window. It's a very slim angle, so completely understandable that he doesn't hit the shot. You use Sonar alone as Sweater. I don't know if that was a one-tap, but kind of destroys Zeno. Okay,
Just in
Newers is
Logi.
just in Logi. Whitlock gets the pick, but can't find the second. You got to win those against the Iana, Whitlock. And luckily, Sonar's able to refrag. Mikey finds one of his own to equalize. It's 2 versus 2. Doc left on his own to cover Gunner, but there's nothing from the defense to stop this. He doesn't get away, but he does plant, and that leaves Doc alone in post. 1 versus 2, it's more than doable, especially with his position. And they've got no idea he's here. He'll light up Sonar a little bit, but Mikey's just going to continue. Hope the Goyo can cover, and he can't get him from behind the weight rack. Oh no! The angle does not work out for the Maverick. Well played positioning from the Wamai. And finally, after 4 losses in a row, Karn & Co. take another round.
That was an excellent recovery by them. As you and I both mentioned at the exact same time, Newers miraculously was just inside of logistics. Probably just pushed into there, which I probably dropped the hatch, I would imagine, because there were 3 people stacked inside of Cash last time we saw. I imagine they didn't all 3 rotate out immediately. Some did, but I imagine not all of them. He manages to rotate in. Him and Sweater both get a kill there, but this is the benefit of not maybe fully clearing out a position, just dropping Logi and trying to make an opening work. Was Whitlock still inside of construction? He's able to get a kill in tandem with his team. They're able to shut down the brunt of the Logi push and stop what was water finding a crack in pavement into destroying the entire foundations. They contain it, they stop it, and make it a 2v2. Gunner's able to get the bomb down, but then the recovery by Mikey, sending out the C4. Sure, it only downed him, and sure, Gunner even got the bomb down. But based on that position in the 1v2, Gunner just scrambling to get the bomb on the floor. Mikey can find the angle to defuse without exposing himself. It was a good recovery in the final round. But now Mystic get to go to the defense with the momentum. And maybe in this first round, we'll see something really impressive from Karn & Co., something of their attacks. But even on Coastline, it looked better, but I wasn't thoroughly impressed at times. But there were still a lot of workable pieces there that I think on their map pick as well, they definitely should and have the potential to demonstrate. There you go. Tones probably just gave his life
where
away
was
there.
Tones? Spawn Peak and Garage, it looks like. Wait. No, wait, where's the little icon?
I can't tell, but considering where he was, I would
yeah.
imagine it was Garage.
Yeah, it's safe to assume. So, good pick from Mikey. I also just now realized that is the first opening pick Karn and Co have gotten this entire map.
Yep.
Yep. Mystic were 6-0 on their attack. So I guess the attack is now 7-0 on entries.
It's one way to phrase it. You could also say that Mystic are 6-0 and Karn are 6-1 and Karn are 1-6. All are logically equivalent statement. I mean, then aside from that pick on the tones, not much has happened. Force Karn and Co. because of that opening pick. You feel emboldened to take this map control quickly, especially considering Mystic not playing too far off the site, instead playing all around that basement. Aren't really contesting that map control that much. Heard a C4 from Newers earlier that was pre-placed. It was detonated. Now, since it did not find anything, except maybe some damage onto Whitlock, the attack is pretty much worry-free on this clear upstairs. They can start opening up these holes, and save for anybody challenging from below, likely won't meet much pressure overall. How Karn & Co can transition is a different question entirely. 2 players playing in blue right now compared to 1 from Karn & Co, which could change soon. If it's still a 5v4, they could rotate somebody over, have somebody push Oil Pit as well if they want to make that happen. Right now, the main focus is instead main stairs and opening up all of those angles. Mikey, too, even vacating the premises, leaving and likely going to join the rest of his team. They're able to open up this church wall that could be very good, but they need to destroy Hardwich Denial on that wall. Karn is a nade, but until then, it seems that Karn & Co might just be a little bit stuck.
If he just let go of that nade, if there were no ADSs there, Newers could have been a dead man. But Whitlock, after getting lit up earlier, goes down to the fight through the floor. Newers as well, playing behind the shield, catches Sonar, and nearly the second, but no, Carnage is quicker on the trigger, looking for the second, sees Doc's shoulder, heavily lights up the Jaeger, but there's Gunner playing on a little hole in Ashwall. He gets the refrag before Mikey finds Doc. Now it's Sweater alone. He's on smoke this time. An odd operator for Sweater to be playing, for sure. They'll still find the pick onto Mikey. That leaves Zeno alone. 1 versus 2, 15 seconds left. Pressed for time and stuck in a Banshee, and Sweater outduels him with the SMG-11. We're normally used to him playing the fragging operators, but it seems he can do the job on smoke as well, and it's a 5-2 lead now for Mystic.
So Karn & Co are relatively unobstructed on their clear. They even get a free pick thanks to Tone's spawn peeking garage door. They take that in stride. They get their control. They're feeling good for about pretty much half, if not 2/3 of the round. But then they get down to the church wall, and with a minute left, they're like, all right, we need to take this down.
On opposite sides. So I wouldn't even really count that with the point I'm trying to make.
All side up will be CCTV and cash for Mystic. Don't believe we're gonna... Might see... Newers hasn't locked in his op yet, but
the Legion again.
It's too late to 6-pick at this point. Newers is just very indecisive, I suppose. Not quite sure.
Listen, he was trying to fake out Karn & Co and make them believe that there was a 6-pick.
Ah, clever.
Mind games.
When in reality, he's just Legion.
He's me.
Yeah?
I am Legion.
No, but going forward here, Mystic have a lot of their necessary utility that they need to make this setup work. That plat wall, it's going to get open. It's just going to, in all likelihood. If you were to bring a Cade, you'd likely dedicate it to garage walls, but all Mystic are doing are bringing a mute and putting a jammer on that plat wall, and since there's a Maverick, it's, again, in all likelihood, going to get open. Same with the garage walls. Maverick's probably going to rotate down, cut through those electric claws, so what better to do than bring the Jaeger and the Omai, stack out the projectile denial inside a garage, but then more so focus on other things. Say bringing a Legion to allow Newers to frag, also give some more implicit intel, not necessarily active like a camera, but if you're a sound cue, you can play off of that. Get Gunner on the Malusi, something he's comfortable with, and also provide some utility to slow things down, some intel as well with that bulletproof. Because of the Mavericks on the board, it almost frees up some of the defensive options because those walls are getting open, hard breach denial or not. Might as well just accept it.
Karn is getting that wall open, of course. Mute Jammer will not stop him.
All
as
right.
Mikey gets a Claymore kill on Tones. So, the mute that we saw escape, I think... I don't even know where he tried to rotate to. I've never seen that kill before. Well, now you have. But Sweater is very quick to refrag with an MP5K of his own. He'll kill Sonar, the Thermite. Now, luckily, the garage wall is already open. Plat wall is already open. But if you wanted to go ahead and open something like the con single wall, or maybe the wall up in garage, You can no longer do that unless Carnage B can. Now, the attacker's going to get a second pick. Make that a third as Carnage B, I think, just walked right in and killed Newers. Yeah, in the red hallway, he's now in default. Zeno gets another, and the advantage is full, by far and away, in the favor of the attack. And finally, it's another round for them. They'll take their third.
What's ironic is that, you know, it's very good. Karn and Co got a round on the board. Very excited. Very exhilarating. But based on how that round went, they should have won that, like, through and through. Everything went their way. Tones, I believe the second time this match, actually, I think 2 times in a row, gifts the attack an opening pick. The first time Mikey had to actually shoot someone. This time, all he had to do was press G and forget. Just gets the same guy. And at that point, Platwell's open. They're moving into garage. Sweater decides to rotate down off of garage, and he does get a kill on the onto the player outside of the door, but he's out of position. In fact, he even rotates down into oil pit and very quickly cedes control of garage to the attack. Gunner as well, inside of CCTV, still playing there. He's pinched, he's stuck, can't rotate in front of Platwell, he'll get shot. He's stuck with an angle looking at him from the window as well. On low HP, he's easily finished off. At that point, Karn and Co quickly realize, hey, we're gaining all this momentum. Newers is off the site. He's rotating back. Let's move in. If we can get even one pick, this round should be ours. They get that pick without losing a single body after that. You end up losing one, of course. But overall, they just very quickly in the first minute almost gained everything they needed to make an execute and a flood happen. And then once they realized that, they acted on it and won the round accordingly.
Once again, Carter, I ask the million-dollar question.
Yes, I will marry you.
What?
What? Sorry?
I mean, I will be in Indiana tomorrow. Tomorrow night. Wanna get together?
No.
Man. But anyway, the million-dollar question was, can they do it again? Instead of Mav tricking the wall, they will simply shoot the mute jammer now that they know there's really nothing else stopping it. Defense will try and impact trick through it, but it will be unsuccessful. So, easy opening of the plat wall, and this time, it's a little bit quicker. Sonar is able to easily open that up. And now we'll see, where do Karn and Co go? Are they going to go Con, or are they going to go Rafters? They have the ability to do either, and it seems as if it's going to be a garage clear once again, which worked beautifully in the previous round, though. Gunner's now over towards Strip. I don't know if he'll find an angle on anyone right now, but no, he sees the rappel, but misses because he hit the crouch. He didn't need to do that, and he gives up what could have been the perfect opportunity for a freebie.
It's still a 5v5, though. Could be worse. The Sweater sort of getting maybe a little bit too aggressive, exposed himself to the plat wall, manages to retreat just in time. But as Gunner did expose himself to Zeno inside of Strip, Zeno very well catches Gunner on the rotate. Sweater will finish off Whitlock downed outside of Garage. Now that he's rotated down, could catch one of the attackers off guard, but Zeno manages not to spot the Wamai. He takes him down and even peeks out for a third. He can finish off the Maverick, no problem. He goes for not even the knife, just the BM at that point. Mikey can pick him up as he rotates back in, but easily stopped by Newers. Mystic on match point, all thanks to Sweater, just being the way he is. Gets a kill, continues pushing. If it works, it works.
Carter. Did Karn and Co do it again?
You know, considering when they did it, they won. And in that round, they lost. I'm going to say no.
I would have to agree. Last time, they actually took Garage. This time, they didn't get past that point.
Sweater Goomba stomped them.
Sweater just killed everyone. In bottom Garage, no less. Not even Rafters. He left Rafters.
Was it just on our screen that Zeno was obscured by a bush? Because that's what it looked like on our screen.
Know. It was pretty funny. Also, fun fact, the attackers have still won every opening engagement.
Wow. Fat lot of good is doing Carnico, isn't it?
Yeah. They're currently 1-2 on their attack, despite being 3-0 on entry. And now we move on to what could be the final round. if Karn & Co. don't clean up. We are down on Church, the site where Mystic had started this half off with a win.
10 seconds left.
But can they continue it here? Can they do it again? As you said. We'll just have to see. If it'll be Mystic winning the round. I guess not doing it again, actually. Doing it not again. Just doing it, actually. Let's see if they can. Tones, thankfully, has not given his life away in the first 15 seconds, so never mind. He's probably about to. Never mind, he pushes back. We're all good. We're chilling. That would have been annoying. He will rotate back down. Still likely the attacker's aware of his position. Mikey in a position to push in through garage. Some players moving over towards bar as well, and lounge too. So in a very, very problematic position if he continues aggressing, but he rotates down at likely the exact right time. So 45 seconds spent, no harm, no foul. Tones can rotate back like nothing even happened. Mystic are taking this the exact same way, or defending it the exact same way they did previously. Not getting too aggressive on that top floor, besides Tones just doing his thing. What? Oh, what the hell?
Oh!
All right, well, that guy's dead. And that was your vertical destruction.
The trend! No pun intended. I didn't even realize he killed the buck. Newers bucks the trend and gets the first opening kill for the defense in this entire game. And it comes on round 10. I'm almost a little disappointed. Kind of sad we didn't have that for the whole game. But it's still a great kill and on the buck. An important operator for this attack, especially because, well, Karn & Co. tried to go for a play that did not involve the kitchen hatch last time. So if they wanted to switch it, no, they can't do that anymore. They're going to be forced to take a relatively similar attack to one that Mystic has already fought back against.
Oh, minute left. First toxic canister going out inside of blue. Doc manages to evade a grenade sent on down. Newers taking a second kill as well. The blue push not working out whatsoever. In fact, it's completely dismantled, but there is actually some headway made on the opposite side of the map, but still quickly mitigated by Sweater. Very Smoke was choking the life out of blue.
Yeah, it is.
Now rotated over. Zeno does find a nice pick onto Gunner, who is drip Boolin peeking the armory hallway. Taken down, though, so doesn't have much impact in the long run. Right now, Zeno and Karn are stuck in a bit of an unwinnable position. Spread out, they have to try to slowly push in, but there's still Sweater doing his thing inside of the site. And Karn's team's hopes are all left alive on him, on his shoulders. But Karn and his company of merry men will have to halt their playoff dreams for just 1 week longer, as it's Mystic, the first T3 team and the third team in SCS Season 6 to qualify for playoffs, as they are 4-0 for maps during the regular season so far.